VD hotline. How many days? Hold on a second.
I would definitely check that with your
VD hotline. Can you hang on? Carletta, can you take this call? Yes, the incubation period is 2 to 14 days. And specify what you
VD hotline, may I help you? Okay, I'll check it out. Would you hold the line a moment, please? VD hotline, hold the line, please. Thank you.
The scene you just saw is a little exaggerated, but not much. In America, a case of sexually transmissible disease is contracted every 5 seconds. Last year, it was estimated that there were nearly 8.5 million cases of VD. That amounts to more than the entire city of New York. But VD is pandemic. It rages all around the world. To say only that venereal disease is a problem is a gross understatement. In this film, we're going to conduct a VD quiz. We're going to all find out how much we really know or don't know about sexually transmissible diseases.
Well, I sure hope we have enough food for our party Saturday night. Oh, Laura, don't forget to bring some of your famous potato salad, okay?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'll even be able to make it on Saturday.
Well, you mean you'd miss the party? Hey, what's the matter? You got some sort of trouble with Bill?
Sort of. I got this weird call from him this morning. He thinks he's got gonorrhea. He has a discharge and some pain when he urinates. I guess I've got it too.
Oh, hey, come on, lighten up. Now, you haven't noticed anything, so that means you're probably in the clear. You would have had some kind of symptoms by now.
Hey, come on, relax, okay? I don't know. I heard differently. I heard that men usually get the symptoms and women most times never get them at all. You might still have it and not even know it.
Who usually gets symptoms of gonorrhea?
You would have had some sort of symptoms by now.
Men usually get symptoms and women most times never get them at all.
Men usually get the symptoms 3 to 10 days after contact. 4 out of 5 women show no symptoms at all. But there's a catch. Scientists report that some men may not show symptoms either.
I'm still sure that men usually get the symptoms and most women never get any at all.
Well, I guess I better see my doctor right away, just in case.
Yeah, well, it couldn't hurt, I suppose. Still, you're not a teenager anymore. Ah, it's all right. Think young, right?
No joke, Betty. It's true, a lot of teenagers do get gonorrhea, but it's not confined to any particular age group.
Is gonorrhea primarily a teenage problem?
Go ahead, think young.
Anybody can get gonorrhea.
While gonorrhea is more predominant among teenagers and people under 25, no age group is by any means immune to this or any other sexually transmitted disease.
Well, I guess you're right. Believe me, anybody can get gonorrhea. Well, aside from that, I'm worried about what my doctor may think. It could be awfully embarrassing. He could think I'm not a nice person or something. Laura, you've got to be kidding. Doctors consider VD a medical problem. They don't judge you.
Are doctors uptight about VD?
I'm worried about what my doctor may think. They don't judge you.
Both answers are correct. Because venereal disease is epidemic, doctors are uptight about it. But as a medical problem, your doctor is interested in your health, not the moral issues of venereal disease. He wants to diagnose and treat, not judge. Doctors are people. They understand that VD is a sensitive issue. For that reason, VD information is completely confidential.
Laura, they're going to want to know who your contacts are.
Oh, come on. I don't see why I have to. It's a personal thing. It's my problem.
I know it may be personal, but you've really got to tell them.
Should you name your sexual contacts?
It's a personal thing. It's my problem. But you've really got to tell them.
You have to do it because someone else's health could be in danger, and they may not know it. Let your contacts know quickly before their case turns into a medical problem. And if you just can't do it, then your doctor or a public health VD counselor can, and with complete confidentiality. Wouldn't you want to be told if you were sick?
Hey, Laura, you're on the pill, right? Were you on the pill when Bill picked up his case?
Sure, but I don't see what that has to do with gonorrhea.
Don't you see? You're okay because the pill stops VD.
Hey, you are wrong. Now, the pill prevents pregnancies. It doesn't stop VD.
Do birth control pills prevent gonorrhea or any other venereal disease?
The pill stops VD.
Now, the pill prevents babies. It doesn't stop VD.
Birth control pills in no way prevent gonorrhea or any other sexually transmissible diseases. In fact, they may increase the chance of infection with gonorrhea. Darlene has touched on what is one of the most prevalent myths about venereal disease. Medical science has not yet discovered a vaccine or anything so simple as taking a pill to prevent VD. They're working on it and are hopeful, but not yet.
Hey, Laura, don't worry so much about it. And we've both got friends who can get you medicine if we need it, right?
Sure. You know, you'll be able to wipe this thing out before you even see your doctor. That's if you even have it at all.
Well, thanks anyway, but I don't think I should take anyone else's medicine.
Should you borrow medicine or try to treat yourself?
And we've both got friends who can get you medicine if we need it.
I don't think I should take anyone else's medicine.
Laura is absolutely right. You should never borrow medicine or try to treat yourself under any circumstances. As you've heard, there are a good many misconceptions about sexually transmissible diseases. Well, for gonorrhea, as for any disease, proper diagnosis must precede treatment. Gonorrhea and syphilis, for example, each have 6 different treatment schedules depending upon the situation. Highly resistant strains, like some forms of gonorrhea carried to the United States by Vietnam veterans, may require extremely high doses of antibiotics for proper treatment. While gonorrhea is one of the most widespread of the sexually transmissible diseases, it is by no means the only one.
Well, that takes care of the blood tests. We'll be able to get married right on schedule. Hey, there's nothing to worry about. Blood tests are just a formality.
Maybe not. Maybe my blood test will show something.
What do you mean?
Well, I have this discharge, same as when I had gonorrhea, back before I met you. Well, I guess it's come back or something. I can't figure it out.
Well, your blood test isn't going to show you anything. You need a complete VD checkup if you think you've got gonorrhea or whatever.
Do you need a complete VD checkup if you think you have VD?
You need a complete VD checkup if you think you've got gonorrhea.
Maybe my blood test will show something.
Doctors use a variety of tests to determine whether someone has VD. A blood test, for example, will not show gonorrhea. So Gary's test will not tell him what he needs to know. He should have a complete examination by a doctor. The tests are simple and painless.
Well, I'm sure it's gonorrhea. It couldn't be anything else.
I don't know about that. I've heard there's another kind of infection that's similar to gonorrhea, one called NGU.
No, I've had it before. It has to be gonorrhea.
Is there a disease whose symptoms are similar to gonorrhea?
One called NGU.
No, it has to be gonorrhea.
The answer is yes. Non-gonococcal urethritis, NGU for short, is as common as gonorrhea, and its symptoms in the male are quite similar. It should be noted that NGU often develops in a man who has been recently cured of gonorrhea. As with gonorrhea, Men are usually more likely to notice the symptoms than women.
Well, I feel better now that I know more about it. Yeah, I didn't realize NGU even existed.
Well, a lot of people don't. And yet, last year, there were 3 million estimated cases in this country alone. And it's good you came in for your treatment right away. And I'm glad Claire's getting her checkup, too.
You've got to answer another question for me. Can somebody get VD without sexual contact? Somebody told me that, but I just don't believe it.
It's a good question. There have been rare instances where it's happened, or where scientists and venereal disease researchers duplicate the ideal environment for infection artificially. But in practical terms, it's a myth. We're interested in the epidemic of venereal disease. And that epidemic is caused by sexual contact with infected people. To catch VD, it only takes one contact with an infected person. Obviously, the risk goes up the more contacts you have. That's why it's important for you to get checked out. Contact those with whom you've been intimate and know all the facts.
Bob, I went to see the doctor yesterday. You know that discharge and the itching I told you I had? Well, it turned out I did have something.
Something like what?
I had an infection, something called trichomoniasis.
Trickle what?
Trichomoniasis. Trick for short. At least that's what the doctor called it. And he started me on some treatment.
Great. You'll be okay.
Yeah, but that's not the problem.
Well, what is the problem, Mare? You're gonna be all right, aren't you?
Yeah, but that's not what I mean. The doctor wants to see you.
Me? Why me? There's nothing wrong with me. When you talk like this, Trick, whatever it is, there's some kind of VD or something.
That's exactly what it is.
You're putting me on.
Is trichomoniasis a venereal disease?
You're putting me on.
That's exactly what it is.
Trichomoniasis, trick for short, is a venereal disease. It's spread exactly like gonorrhea and NGU and seems to be just as prevalent.
Even if it is a venereal disease, I'm sure I don't have it. I don't have a discharge or anything.
But the doctor said that trick is one venereal disease that usually causes symptoms in a female, but only rarely in the male.
Come on, Mare, I know if I had it.
Can a man have trichomoniasis and not know it?
Symptoms rarely in males.
I know if I had it.
The answer is yes. As a matter of fact, he will seldom know it. While trick usually causes a heavy discharge and itching in a female, it rarely causes any symptoms in men, even though they have it and can infect their contacts. Have you noticed one thing about all the answers so far? In every case, we've seen that both partners should be checked out.
What do you mean you don't look sick or anything?
I'm not really, but I've got these blisters
Where?
on my genitals. I think it might be VD or maybe herpes.
Well, it's not herpes. Herpes is just a cold sore. I get them on my lips all the time, especially when I've had the flu or something.
I think I got it. Look, I've read up on it. There are 2 types of herpes, and one of them is a venereal disease.
Are you sure? I've never heard of that. You've got to be wrong.
Are there 2 types of herpes disease? Is one type sexually transmissible?
Herpes is just a cold sore.
There are 2 types of herpes, and one is a venereal disease.
The answer is yes. There are 2 kinds of herpes disease. Herpes simplex type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is not usually sexually transmissible, but type 2 is a venereal disease. Type 1 is often associated with fever blisters or cold sores. Type 2, the one we're worried about, most often occurs on the genitals.
Well, don't be so frantic about it. If it's just VD, you can go to the med center and get it treated.
I don't think there's much they can do for it. I heard it can't be treated, and it keeps coming back.
Can herpes type 2 be cured?
You can go to the med center and get it treated.
I heard it can't be treated, and it keeps coming back.
The answer, sad to say, is no. Herpes can't be cured yet. Herpes type 2 is caused by a virus which isn't killed by presently known antibiotics. Once infected with herpes, a person may have recurrences throughout his life. Recurrences which may be triggered by physical and even emotional stress. Its symptoms eventually disappear, usually within a week to a month. But don't be fooled. Though the painful blisters, the sores and itching in the genitals, the swollen glands and the muscle aches go away, the disease does not. The virus remains alive inside your body. The best defense against the recurrence of herpes type 2 is to maintain the body in a state of good health with rest, exercise, and good nutrition. If you're a woman, it's important to have continued checkups at your doctor's. And for a woman who's pregnant and has had herpes, it's critical that she inform her doctor.
Hey, Carlos, what do you say we take 5, huh? All right with me. Just a good spot here.
Yeah. Ah.
Good war. Yeah. Hey, give me a swig of that before you put it away.
I don't know if you should drink from my canteen.
Come on, I'm not afraid of your germs. Give me a slug.
What do you know about syphilis, Carlos?
Come on, I hope you're kidding. Just what I learned in the service. Why?
Well, I got a call from Sally last night. I mean, she was really wild. I mean, she's hysterical. She thinks she has syphilis and she wanted to warn me. But, I haven't been with her for over a month. I mean, if I had it, I'd have the symptoms by now, wouldn't I?
Not necessarily, Rich. I've heard it takes 30 days, sometimes longer, for symptoms to appear.
Do the symptoms for syphilis always occur within 30 days?
I've heard it takes up to 30 days for symptoms to appear.
But I'd know it by now, wouldn't I?
Sorry, you're both wrong. The first stage symptoms of syphilis can occur as early as 10 days or as late as 3 months after contact with an infected person.
You better hit the doctor or clinic right away, get things checked out.
You're right. They'll be able to know if I've got it right away.
Maybe yes, maybe no. Sometimes syphilis can be pretty hard to detect.
Is syphilis easily diagnosed?
Well, sometimes syphilis can be pretty hard to detect.
They'll be able to tell if I've got it right away.
The diagnosis of syphilis is not easy at all. This disease has been called the great imitator because it can produce symptoms similar or identical to dozens of other diseases. The doctor cannot depend on the patient's symptoms alone, but must also carefully consider the patient's medical history, the presence or absence of syphilis in the patient's recent sexual partner or partners, and the results of laboratory tests. If a sore or chancre should appear, be sure and have it examined by a doctor immediately. A syphilis sore can disappear within a few days and make diagnosis more difficult. Although nowhere near as prevalent as it once was, syphilis still ranks as one of the most widespread sexually transmissible diseases. If untreated, it can result in paralysis, heart damage, blindness, insanity, and even death. Of course, there are many, many questions which people are confronted with when it comes to sexually transmissible diseases. This is one reason why clinics and VD hotlines are so valuable.
That's true. A lot of people are allergic to penicillin, but it's nothing to worry about. Gonorrhea can be treated just as easily with alternative antibiotics.
Not yet, they haven't. They're working on vaccines to prevent sexually transmissible diseases, but none has been perfected.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, thanks. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling the VD hotline.
I'm going to the clinic in the morning for a VD test. Shall I douche first?
No, you shouldn't. The doctor will need an accurate sample of any discharge or any other symptom. As a matter of fact,
Your friend is right. Crabs are sexually transmissible. And you really should be treated as soon as possible.
Yes, that's true. Any sexually transmissible disease can be contracted from any form of intimate sexual contact, not just intercourse. You're welcome.
It doesn't matter how old you are. And even if you are intimate with only one partner, you can still get VD. If you want to be sure, get checked from time to time.
Well, you know, my neighbor, she's single, says she has checkups for VD once a month. Do I need that?
It all depends on the kinds of contacts you have. If you think your risk is high, you may want to get a VD checkup more often. Only you can judge. One bit of advice, though, doctors usually don't give a VD checkup as part of a normal physical. So if you want one, you're going to have to ask for it.
Yes, we are supported by contributions, so anything you can give us would really help us.
Hi, VD Hotline. May I help you?
As the hotline calls have illustrated, many people aren't sure exactly what procedure they should follow if they suspect they've contracted a sexually transmissible disease. It's really very simple. If you have the slightest suspicion, check it out. See your doctor or go to a clinic immediately. Remember, most of these diseases can be cured, and no complications will arise if you are cured early enough. What are your options in terms of prevention? They're pretty basic. First, you can be highly selective in your choice of sexual partners and stay with one person. Second, ask your partner or partners whether they've ever had venereal disease. Third, practice good hygiene before and after intimacy. Fourth, look for physical signs and changes in the way you feel. Fifth, abstain from sexual activity if you're infected or suspect infection in yourself or your sex partner. Finally, have yourself checked regularly. Remember, if you have any doubts at all, check them out. More and more cases of sexually transmissible diseases are being reported every year. People are obviously becoming more aware of these problems and are responding in a positive manner. They're having themselves and their contacts examined. People are expressing their concern, and that's something we should all be grateful for. After all, these diseases are transmitted by people, and only people can prevent them.